Golgfag Maneater is probably the most infamous ogre mercenary to ever stride across the Warhammer world, nay, across all fantasy realms. From his brutal beginnings in the Mountains of Mourn to his legendary status as a mercenary commander, Golgfag's life is a whirlwind of epic battles, cunning strategies, and unforgettable adventures that took him from the legendary island of Ulthuan to the ruinous Skavenblight. I am Eldrin the Lawkeeper, and I promise you that regardless of whether you are a veteran of Warhammer Fantasy or this is the first time you hear about Golgfag, this video will blow your mind. In the next few minutes, I will unravel for you all the tales of his clashes with dwarven kings, his exploits in the Empire, and his escapades in the Border Princes. Get ready for a story packed with action, betrayal, and relentless pursuit of glory. This is Golgfag Maneater, the ultimate mercenary. But before we delve deeper into the tales of Golgfag, why don't you help us with our own quest for fame and glory? We also wage an epic battle with the almighty YouTube algorithm, and you can help us by smashing that like button and subscribing to our channel. Thanks. Now back to Golgfag. To understand Golgfag, we need to understand ogres, which, let's keep this between me and you, is not that hard of a task. Ogres are simple creatures, hulking monstrosities with a colossal appetite for destruction and wealth surpassed only by their even more enormous appetite for food, with their sole purpose in life being to smash everything around them, pillage, and eat everything, and I mean everything that can be eaten. Ogres are perfect for a mercenary life. Enter Golgfag Maneater, an ogre who sold his services to the highest bidder all across the Warhammer world, taking huge fees and readily switching sides whenever a better options was presented. Combine that with his knack for survival, and he became the model for all ogres wanting to be successful mercenaries. So much so that his nickname, Maneater, has become synonymous with a well-traveled, skilled ogre mercenary, companies of so-called men-eaters sprawling all over the old world. Golgfag Maneater is a towering behemoth, even by ogre standards, with a body forged in the fires of countless battles. His scarred, weather-beaten skin tells tales of his numerous encounters. Adorned in a patchwork of armor, looted from various enemies, Golgfag wields an enormous club and a cannon-turned handgun, showcasing his resourcefulness and adaptability on the battlefield. Golgfag was born in the harsh and unforgiving Mountains of Mourn, a landscape that shaped his indomitable spirit. From a young age, he displayed extraordinary strength and natural leadership ability, quickly rising through the ranks of the Saberskins tribe. His cunning and brutality earned him the nickname Man-Eater, after devouring a rival chieftain in a display of dominance. The turning point in Golgfag's life came when he encountered human traders who introduced him to the concept of mercenary work. Intrigued by the promise of gold, glory, and an endless supply of exotic foods, Golgfag left his tribe and ventured into the wider world. His prowess in battle quickly made him a sought-after mercenary leader, and he formed his own band of ogre warriors, known as Golgfag's Man-Eaters. Golgfag's early contracts included working for the dwarves of Karak Kadrin, led by King Ungrim Ironfist. Hired initially by Ganashrak Badtooth, an orc war boss who was pressing the Karak Kadrin dwarfs, Golgfag's ogres looked like exactly the type of extra muscle needed to turn the fight in favor of the greenskins. The orcs soon grew tired of the ogre's appetite for goblins, and after one particularly loud drinking session, Golgfag and Nashrak got into a huge fight. Golgfag tore off the orc's arm and used it as a weapon to escape the orc encampment. Promptly, Golgfag switched sides and offered his services to the Slayer King. Despite initial mistrust, the dwarves were convinced when they were presented with Nashrak's arm, and came to respect the effectiveness in combat of the ogre's mercenaries. However, Golgfag's insatiable hunger for gold and treasure eventually led to a falling out, culminating in a dramatic escape laden with pilfered riches. Golgfag escaped with the treasures looted from Ungrim's hoard into the Empire. While in the employment of the Imperial army, he discovered that halflings were by far his favorite food. Golgfag's exploits in the Empire are legendary. He crushed rebellious uprisings and defended besieged cities, earning a reputation as a fearsome and reliable mercenary. His most famous exploit in the Empire was the defense of Middenheim. Hired to hold the city against a chaos incursion, Golgfag's ogres formed a crucial line of defense. Their sheer strength and ferocity turned the tide of battle, earning Golgfag a hefty reward and the grudging respect of the Empire's nobility. If you want to know more about chaos, we have an excellent video on one of the most famous Khornite champions, none other than Arbor the Undefeated. Check it out after this video. The link is in the description. However, Golgfag's relationship with the Empire was not always cooperative. After a particularly lucrative campaign, Imperial authorities attempted to arrest him for his numerous crimes. Captured and imprisoned in Altdorf, Golgfag's captivity was short-lived. Utilizing his immense strength and the cunning help of his loyal Maneaters, Golgfag orchestrated a dramatic escape, leaving a path of destruction in his wake. This escape showcased his resilience and his ability to inspire unwavering loyalty among his followers. Golgfag had plenty of adventures in the lands of Tilea, where Lorenzo Lupo employed him. The Tilean leader found the ogres to be excellent warriors, but a considerable nuisance. The citizens of Lucini constantly complained about being harassed and robbed by the ogres. Either Lorenzo or one of the many nobles Golgfag managed to offend decided to give him a lesson and intimidate him into submission. Thus, the ogre captain woke up one morning with a severed horse's head next to him. Us silly Tileans, not only was Golgfag not intimidated, but they also provided him with, in his own words, the best horse head he ever ate. Numerous other attempts on his life resulted in a drastic reduction in the number of professional killers in Lucini. So few murderers, assassins, and poisoners remained in his city that Lupo was concerned law and order would break down altogether. Finally, the leader of Lucini had to send a company of pikemen to arrest Golgfag after he decided to break uninvited into Lorenzo's warehouses and help himself to as much expensive wine as his enormous gut could hold. Fortunately, an opportunity to be rid of the ogres altogether arrived in the form of a messenger from one of the border princes. Count Einhard, a border prince of Reichlander origins, was hiring mercenaries. Lorenzo cheerfully brokered a deal between him and the ogres, took his fee, and released Golgfag and his crew from captivity. Soon after, Golgfag heard that trouble was brewing between the orcs and dwarfs again, and he headed northwards once more. He fell in with a bunch of orcs and goblins and was once more feasting upon dwarfs. Little did he know his former employer, the Canny Slayer King, was preparing a trap for him and the orc army, using a supply convoy as bait. The convoy of wagons full of cheap ale got the greenskins and the ogres stone drunk. When they awoke, they found themselves in the dungeons deep below Carrick Cadrin. Ungrim no doubt expected Golgfag to die in this cramped and crowded dungeon with all the other ogres and orcs in there. A few months later, when the dwarfs opened the dungeon, they found Golgfag still alive. He had eaten everyone else in the dungeon, including the rest of the ogres, apart from his oldest drinking buddy, Scaff, who until that point had only lost one leg to Golgfag's ravenous hunger. The Slayer King was so impressed that he released Golgfag. Gathering a new troop of mercenaries, Golgfag went over the Grey Mountains, where chivalric knights of Bretonnia became his frequent foes and food. After the first sampling of armored knights, ogres referred to them forever after as tinned food. Hired by rival lords in the Bretonnian lands or orc chieftains, Golgfag's Maneaters ravaged the countryside, defeating several knightly orders in pitched battles. His most notable victory came at the Battle of Raven's Field, where he personally bested the renowned Duke Gaston in single combat, further enhancing his fearsome legend. One of Golgfag's most ambitious undertakings was participating in the siege of Karak Eight Peaks, alongside Skarsnik, the Night Goblin warlord. The alliance, though fraught with tension, was devastatingly effective. Golgfag's brute strength and Skarsnik's devious strategies wreaked havoc on the dwarf defenders. Although the siege ultimately failed, it cemented Golgfag's status as a formidable force in the Warhammer world. In his later years, Golgfag continued to lead his Maneaters on various campaigns across the Warhammer world. His adventures took him to distant lands, where he faced off against lizardmen in the jungles of Lustria and clashed with tomb kings in the deserts of Nehekara. Well, guys, I am Eldrin, the lore-keeper from Fantasy Chronicler. Thank you for watching. But let's give the final word to the man, or actually Ogre himself. Golgfag Maneater.
Listen here, you puny human. Like and subscribe. Now!